I don't know what happened there. Kick me out. We're live.
Okay, I think we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Ingram Jones, and I'm joined with myself and Liam, moderator and co-host. Liam, how you feeling, mate?
I'm right, thank you, Ingram. Yourself?
Good. As everyone probably knows, there's no secret now. We have Tony Bellew who will be joining us tonight at some point. Technical difficulties at the moment, but I'm sure Tony will join us at some point during the evening, and we'll be able to do talk with him, find out what his plans are in terms of his defense of BJ Flores and the rest of the cruiserweight division. So how have things been?
All good, mate. All good. A few fights this weekend. First of all, want to cover. Don't know if did you see the Miller versus Cassie fight?
Didn't see that fight. Didn't get to see that fight, unfortunately. Tell me about it.
Well, I didn't see either. What I heard about it, that Cassie won the first round, and then Miller won the second 2 rounds, and then Cassie retired after on his stall in the 3rd round with a bad hand. So
yeah, I haven't seen the fight, so I can't really comment. But I'm always suspicious when guys pull out of fights with damaged hands and damaged injury. I'm not saying that every time a guy pulls out of a fight, it's not a genuine injury, but there's sometimes in fights where a guy's getting upper hand where he shouldn't be getting the upper hand, and he's pulled out because it's making the other guy look bad, and maybe the guy's not as good as his promoter may have thought he was, and they're kind of pulling the guy out. I'm not suggesting this is the case of Cassie. I haven't seen the fight, but I'm always dubious unless I've seen the fight myself when fighters are pulling out on stools or fights. Cassie doesn't normally pull out on fights like that. He's normally quite a rugged, tough guy. So, we'll have to go and see the fight footage.
Would you say that usually that fighters would fight on if they had a broken hand as well? Where if they had a bad shoulder, they probably wouldn't?
It depends. It depends on who the fighter is, and it depends what's on the line. You look at Danny Williams when he fought a guy many years ago. I think the guy's name may have been Holder, and he only one arm he had, and in that one arm you knocked the guy out with one arm. So everything's possible. So it depends what's on the line. I've seen fighters come over from America or from Europe and come to the UK, and literally, either they're ahead on the scorecards or they're doing well in a fight, and suddenly they're pulling out injured. You're wondering what's going on there. Okay, I'm going to keep checking my phone back and forth because I am.
I don't know if you had if you see the Diaz v McGregor fight, Ingram.
No, I didn't see that either.
Didn't see that. I thought it was a close fight. I thought McGregor done well. He done a lot of kicks to make his balance off in the first round. I had Diaz winning the fight 3-2 though, so I can see why he might.
Tony Bell's actually saying he's in the room, but I don't know if he's in the room.
Unless he's in the other room.
Yeah, I don't know which room he's in, but he's saying he's in the room.
Unless you sent him the other link, mate. Because you sent me 2 different links.
I'm not sure. So let's. I don't know what to. Should I send him the link here via here? What do you think? Leave it in the chat.
Sorry?
You send him the link via the chat?
Via the chat? Yeah, it depends how many people join though.
Yeah?
Oh, in the chat in here, yeah.
He's probably in the chat.
He said he hasn't joined his chat though, it's just me in the hangout.
But he's saying to me here that
hello Asgar. Asgar's in the chat.
Asgar's in the chat, let's put him in.
How are you, Asgar?
There's a Paul. Tony, if you and Asgar can push, if Asgar, Alt, and Tony, if you could push that link there, that's on in the chat at the moment, chat box, then that'll bring you straight through.
Is it not easier to put the link into Twitter?
No, because it says he hasn't got Twitter. It says he hasn't got the link. He hasn't got Twitter on his
or
iPad.
Put it in the link or put it in the link of this chat.
Yeah, I just did.
No, you put it. I thought you put it in the chat on YouTube. He might be in the chat on. There's a chat in Hangouts as well in between us three.
Is there?
Yeah.
Can you copy and paste that and put it in for me, please?
Add people join using this link. I'm not sure. I think you're the only one who can do it, mate, because you're the leader.
So how do I do that then? What do I do?
You go to the 3 dots in the corner on the right hand side of your chat, and it should share. You should be able to copy the link of the room.
So there, chat.
Or you can you can invite people to the room with you can add people to the room by putting their Gmail in.
Okay.
So Tony's the account he signed up to this with. You can invite him by that.
Okay. Bear with us a second, people, as we try and just bring Tony into the room.
Asgar, if you want to join, we could Ingram can send you the link via Twitter, maybe.
I've just sent him the link now, so he should get in.
Did you send Asgar via Twitter or via YouTube?
I sent it via YouTube. Okay. Dave Cole, the one is coming as well, but he hasn't got a Gmail account.
Takes 2 seconds to sign up. You old people with technology, eh?
All right, I've just. There you go, Aski. Have that. Take that.
Yeah, maybe if you copied the link in the Skype, what you sent me, and copy that into an email for Tony, it might work like that.
I don't know. Try and email it. Let me see if I can email it to him. You just keep talking about. I'm going to try and talk to. I'm going to try and send the link to him via email. I'm going to try and email Tony. So if you give me a second. Excuse me, guys, while I try and get Tony. I'm going to try and get him via Gmail. If Liam, you can continue talking to people in the room and just reading what people are saying in the chat.
Yeah, so we'll start from the top.
Yeah.
Books and Enthusiast says it's going to be a good one. J124 says, cheers, people, for tonight. Wonder if Tony picks Kovalev or Ward. His thoughts on BJ Flores, we'll find out later. Tony's thoughts on Fish Eyes. When is Billy Joe going to fight again? Jim Wilson rumours on AJV Fury. I have not heard the rumours. Tyson or Huey. Don't think that ever fight, mate.
They won't fight. Tyson v. Hugh won't fight. That's for sure.
Tyson Fury versus Fury to unify. Fury versus Joshua to unify. Winner gets and winner fights Klitschko. Why would Tyson Fury need to fight Klitschko after beating Joshua? Do not know. Jim Wilson. I thought Jim Wilson knew what he's on about. Ticket prices will be interesting for the AJV Tyson. Presume they'll be the same as they always are.
I think a lot of people are looking forward to speaking to Tony Bellew tonight. That's for sure.
Yeah. What about your thoughts on the Spencer versus Bundu fight of the weekend?
Yeah, I think Leonard Bundu looked really good against Gavin. I think he looked really good against Jason Gavin. Against what's his name? Frankie Gavin. Jason Gavin. Against Frankie Gavin, I think he looked really good there. But then I always question Frankie Gavin as a welterweight in his size. Then you got to look at what he did against Keith Thurman. He got dropped by Thurman and made Thurman go on the back foot for 12 rounds. And then he fought, and then I haven't heard much about Leonard Bundu. And then he's now fought Spence. And to be honest, Spence controlled him with a jab, hit him with nice shots on the inside. Spence was getting caught in between the shots when Bundu was throwing shots. This is a 41-year-old. He's a 41-year-old. And people are talking about Spence now like he's Donald Curry. And for me, I think that's a bit of a jump from fighting a 41-year-old and beating up on a 41-year-old who really, you know, was fringe world class. Fringe, because we don't know how good Bundu really is. And at 41 years old, you could say his best days have been behind him. And yeah, you know, Bundu's not known as a one-punch knockout artist or a phenomenal puncher or anything like that. He's just, he's just, steady. You know. So for people to start saying that Errol Spence is somehow a Donald Curry, I think is going a bit too far. Good fighter. Want to see what happens with somebody strong enough, as strong as him, that can push him back. Somebody who it's just as hard as him and can push him back as a welterweight. We'll wait and see what he does then. I notice Spence seems to be able to move forward very well. Let's see how he works when he has to fight off the back foot, his back against the ropes. Let's see how he fights against a guy who gives him plenty of movement. You know, he seems to have to move back and forth. Let's see what he does side to side.
So going forward, do you think he's ready for the Kell Brook fight next, or would he need another fight before that too?
It depends how. The other thing you got to ask yourself in terms of the Kell Brook fight, I mean, it's the state of what Kell Brook's going to be like after his fight with. What Kell Brook's state is going to be like when he's finished with what's his name, Golovkin. I mean, let's see him get through the Golovkin fight first, and what sort of state he ends up with in the Golovkin fight. Because we don't know how that fight's going to end up. Nobody knows how that fight's going to end up.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the fight ends up he's safe and well, and he can continue his boxing career. Well, we don't know nothing. Nobody knows anything. I mean, so we don't know how the impact of that fight in the middleweight will be. How will he be psychologically? If he's to lose, as people expect him to lose, how will he come back psychologically? If it's a damaging defeat, like he gets blown out in a round or two, or he gets systematically beaten up for 11 rounds, how does he come back from that and back up welterweight? And can he come back and fight at welterweight after fighting all the way as high as middleweight? So I don't know. I think if Brook comes back and fights at welterweight, I'd be surprised. I really would. I think it'd probably be best for him to vacate that title afterwards. But who knows? I'm not Kell Brook.
What were your thoughts on Kell Brook's check weight, 176 pounds, and GGG
check
weight?
I don't care. I don't care. That things that I'm not being rude, but those things that don't bother me because he's never fought middleweight. He comes in heavy. Well, that's not a good for me. That's not a good sign. Because for me, I like a fight that keeps himself in, 5 or 10 pounds within his own weight category. Wait, you're blowing yourself up 15, 20 pounds. What are you doing that for? That's not the weight. Even if you're that heavy at the moment, you're not fighting at that weight. You're not fighting healthily at that weight. Do you know what I mean? It's all. And who knows? He was blown up that way. Who knows? Did he drink a lot of water and eat a lot of food? I don't know. That's not the right way he's fighting at. So I don't care he's coming that way. I know that Gennady Golovkin Gennady Golovkin has performed at a certain level at middleweight. All Golovkin has to do is get himself into shape, or he's really going to be in decent shape and prepare strategically for the fight. For Kell Brook, he's going to have to get himself up to middleweight. He's going to spar people who are heavier than him and strategically prepare for Golovkin. So for me, if I were people, I wouldn't get so fussed about, well, he's looking big or his weight. That's not going to matter. Weight's not going to win in the fight. Boxing skills and ability is going to win in the fight. Being able to take a good shot, being able to have a big heart, being able to absorb punishment, being able to box Gennady Golovkin, those are the things that are going to win in a fight. Not the fact that he's got a check weight and he's 10 or 15 pounds heavier. That doesn't win him a fight. You know.
Mm.
So
Just had a great comment from Asgar in the chat.
yeah.
Nobody can beat Tyson Fury but Tyson Fury. And even when Tyson Fury hit himself, he couldn't knock himself out.
Where is Asgar anyway?
Yeah, Asgar's in the chat. I think you need to send Asgar the link on Twitter, mate.
I did.
Asgar, if you're still there, mate, the link's in your Twitter message from Ingram. A lot of Tyson Fury haters in here tonight.
They've got nothing better to do, have they?
Fed said Fury is inactive. He's a joke. How many fighters has he had how many fights has he had in the last few years? Well, I don't think that's his fault.
You know, a lot of people don't understand the contractual obligations. Listen, unless you have read the contract or you have any idea how these contracts work in boxing, you're speaking as somebody who, remember, Fury has an obligation to fight Klitschko. He's obligated to fight Klitschko in a rematch. That's when he signed the contract in the first place. So until he fights Klitschko again, none of these talks about Joshua or talking about him going and fighting Deontay Wilder, none of these things can happen until he beats Klitschko again. If you remember back in the day, I mean, people got short memory. If you remember back in the day when the Klitschko brothers were dominating the heavyweight division, you would have to fight the one Klitschko, and if you beat the one Klitschko, you'd have to go back and fight the other Klitschko, which was if you beat Vladimir, you have to beat Vitaly. After you beat Vitaly, you have to come back and beat Vladimir. And people don't forget about that. People seem to forget about these things, and they seem to be in a world of, oh, you know, Fury's, you know, people, Tyson's just sitting down somewhere saying, oh, I'm not going to fight, or I've got the title, I'm just going to sit around. There are contractual obligations, and there are contracts in boxing. Yeah, and that's the only thing that surprised me of boxing fans is like they're in a world of their own. Like they don't believe that contracts exist, all the reasons behind contracts. Yeah, but if they're going to go and work in a job, they want to see a contract. I don't get it. I understand it. We all know there's contractual issues between Fury and Klitschko. There's something going on. There was the injury. Now the fight's back on. There was talk about Bonfonte talking about the fight being in Germany. We knew the fight was in Manchester. So I mean, I personally don't understand. Me personally, I don't understand what people are making a big fuss about. People just hate for the sake of hating. You've got to understand that. So what can I say to you?
Asgar, if you join the chat, you can ask him yourself, mate. So AJ's next opponent for you, Ingram. Who would you like it to be, and who do you think it will be?
I think I'm hearing rumors it's going to be Pulev, but they're pushing for this Joseph Parker. I think personally it's for Joseph Parker on November the 9th.
Yeah,
something I'm hearing.
I see on Twitter on Sky Sports News today that it was either Pulev, Parker, or Bermain, but Bermain confirmed to us last week that it won't be him. So
it won't be. It certainly won't be Bermain. Pulev, well, that'll be the first guy that AJ fights that actually has got decent footwork and a good jab. You know, Pulev's got an excellent jab.
So is that the fight your preference?
Yeah, I'd like to see Pulev fight him. I'd definitely like to see Pulev fight him. I'd definitely love to see Pulev fight because Pulev's got a damn good jab.
How many fights do you think David Price is off from getting back to that level?
I think people are sleeping on David Price, and they don't want to be sleeping on David Price. That right-handed Price can knock any of the top 10 out, to be honest. You know, I think Pulev presents a decent enough challenge. I think it's a good challenge and a good test. A lot of people are disrespecting Pulev because of the fight against Klitschko, but you know, having seen the canvas that Fury's meant to fight on, and then seeing Pulev fight previously with his footwork and the way Pulev moves in the ring, you know, I will have suspicions about that fight all over again because of the way Pulev seemed like he was walking in. I think we've got somebody else in the room. I think. No, not yet. Yeah, the way that he was moving in previous fights and using a jab and moving Pulev, and then when he fought against Klitschko, he was stuck in quicksand. you have to ask you the question about the canvas and the site, the way the canvas was. So I don't know. I think a lot of people are sleeping in Pulev, and Derek Chisora thought he could go in there and do something, and Pulev gave him a good beating. You know, it wasn't even that much of a closer fight. So I think Pulev is a top quality fighter.
So what level should David Price be fighting in his next fight?
I think a fight against the guys like I think Molina would be a good fight. I think Molina.
Chisora? You like that fight?
No. You want a guy. He needs a guy that's going to stand in front of him, not too much moving up the head, and he can use his jab and you pop the right hand. You know, fights that are going to make him look good. That's what he needs now. He needs 4 or 5 fights where he looks good against guys who will make him look good. Because he fought guys that made him look pretty bad. You know what I mean? He fought Tony Thompson. The style was all wrong for him from the start, from the get-go. Southpaw. Prices never looked good against Southpaws as far as I was concerned. And I predicted that it would be a Southpaw that would beat him. I thought Audley had the opportunity, had the ability to beat him because he was Southpaw. But he was an older, more experienced Southpaw that actually ended up beating David Price. So I'd like to see Price fight somebody, again, Molina, I think, is a good fight for him. Duhaupas, tough, strong, rugged type of guy. Those type of guys for Price. I'd like to see him fight those type of guys. Even a Fred Cassie, a Dominic Brazil, maybe. Who else? Charles Martin.
Took the words out of my mouth. That's what I was going to say.
There you go. There's 4 guys there.
Baby Miller?
No, not yet. Not yet. No. So, kind of like, well, okay, AJ got rid of Brazil at this time, and AJ beat Martin at that time. So you kind of, then it's good because you can start comparing the guys and styles and things,
So the other man who hasn't been fighting anyone at the minute, the toe maker, David Hay.
Yeah, I understand. Well, you can see it coming with David that he doesn't want the Briggs fight. I think he's either going to be against Lucas Brown, who comes out of his suspension, I believe, at the end of this month. So Lucas Brown's a possibility. Frezequendo, I don't know what's going on with him. Don't know if they're going to wheel him out. And then you've got who's the other guy? Frezequendo, Lucas Brown, and Shagayev. Well, Shagayev is not going to be fighting, I don't think. So it's between Frezequendo and Lucas Brown. I think one of those 3 will be for the vacant WBA title.
Asgar says, why not Price v White?
Price v White. I think White's thinking of talking about fighting Antonio Tarver.
I think I've been hearing the Chisora fight's pretty much nailed on for December for them too.
Yeah. If I'm right, and what I'm hearing and what I've been hearing is that Chisora's back with Don Charles. So a reinvigorated Don Charles and Derek Chisora would be interesting to see. If he can come anywhere near the form that he had, before he fought Tyson Fury for the second fight, that'd be a good fight between him and Dillian Whyte.
Your thoughts on a Dillian Whyte versus a Hughie Fury fight?
I think Hughie Fury's a better boxer than Dillian Whyte. I think Dillian Whyte's very strong, very tough. Do you know who Dillian Whyte is actually reminding me of? You remember Donovan Razor Ruddock?
Yeah.
You say same sort of mentality. They're both from Jamaica. They both have that sort of confidence about themselves. I don't know. I know Ruddock was, I'm comparing them in terms of personalities.
And they both have the same mentality as they're not scared of to get in the ring with anyone at any point of their careers. Whether it's too early or too late. Similar to Dave Allen with Dillian Whyte as well.
But then what we need to know is whether Dillian Whyte really has got what it takes to become a world champion. with Donovan Razor, right? He was exciting. You know, he knocked a lot of guys out. He wasn't afraid of anybody, but never actually became a world champion. Which is one of those guys you really wish he became world champion.
Next question is where does Billy Joe go at the minute? Does he take the Eubank fight? Does he go and fight on the undercard of Liam Smith?
See, there must be. See, he was meant to fight Gabe Rosado, and it would have been a great opportunity for him to fight Gabe Rosado in America. But everyone's quite quick to jump on Billy Joe and say this, that, and the other about Billy Joe. Again, these contracts is what we need to be seeing. These contracts, people. We need to see what these contracts are about before we start jumping the gun and saying a person's this or that. You know, that's my concern. So I think that we need to really look at. People's contracts. I think that's a problem. People's contracts are the issue here. What is the contract that Billy Joe's been offered?
Asgard, Ingram sent the link on Twitter if you want to jump in here, mate.
Yeah,
go to your Twitter. It's on there. Asgard, you're more than welcome to get in here, mate. If you're free, that is.
Yeah, let me get Tony's email address.
How is it coming along with Tony?
At the moment, I'm going to send you this. I'm going to try and send the request this way round. I'll try and send the request. I'll do this. See, this works. I've sent him the invitation now.
Asger says he wants to, but he's getting dangerous stares from the wife.
What's that?
Asger says he wants to join, but he's getting dangerous stares from the wife. we kept him up too late last week.
Well, we started earlier, so we won't keep him up too late tonight. Promise.
Asgar's probably sitting there itching to get on to speak to Tony.
Yeah, I know. We're waiting for him. For those people who've just tuned in, we're just waiting for Tony Belly to log in. We could have done a Skype interview, but we really wanted to ensure that you guys that join in get to hear. Well, here's the man himself, Asgar.
Mr. Asgar.
How are you guys?
Sorry, mate. I hope your wife don't give you food poisoning tomorrow.
You good, Liam?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Ingram?
Good. We're just waiting for Mr. Bellew to join us as well.
I always talk to Oval McKenzie about Tony Bellew, because obviously they had a great fight, and I always say to him, "How did you feel when you knocked him down?" And Oval he said, "Look, the guy was knocked out, and I thought I'd won the fight, but the man just come back like he was a fresh man and like he was possessed." And he goes, "What do you do when someone does that to you?" And it's true, when you watch the fight, you think, "Wow, how did Tony Bellew come back from that?"
Do you know what I think it was? I think when Tony Bellew was younger, he watched a lot of the WWF when it was back in the day with The Undertaker. And what he did, he went down and he got up like The Undertaker. When everyone thought The Undertaker was out, and he would just kind of get back up. That's what that reminded me of when he got knocked down by Oval McKenzie, like The Undertaker.
Can I just say something? Because I was having a debate with a few of the guys on the Messenger.
Yes.
A lot of people slate Anthony Joshua, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Let me make this clear. Me personally, do I rate Anthony Joshua? Yes, I do. Is he good for boxing? Yes, he is. Is he a genuine world champion? No, he's not. Is he in a world elite? No, he isn't. Has potential? Yes, he has. Listen, Anthony Joshua isn't doing anything wrong. He's good for boxing. He's an up-and-coming fighter. He can only fight whoever he put in front of him. Let's make that clear. He's definitely not on the level of Tyson Fury. He can be. But listen, people are just good to slate our own fighters. Listen, unite, support, and hopefully push the promoters to make these great fights happen. And they'll answer all the critics. But when people are just like slagging off AJ, the sportsmen, give the man credit. He's just knocking out whoever's been put in front of him. If he was your own fighter, you'd be singing his praises. I'm a Fury man, but listen, don't give AJ that crap. He's a good man. He's good for boxing. He's likable. I like him.
Who would you like to see him fight next, Asgar?
I would definitely like to see. I would like to see him fight David Price, but does David Price deserve it? No, he doesn't. But Hellenius would be a good fight. I would love to see him versus Hellenius.
Did you manage to see much of the Cassie fight of the weekend versus Big Baby Miller?
I did. Something fishy about that fight. I think, is it Miller who you fought?
Sorry?
Hello?
Hello? Yeah, sorry, mate, what did you say?
Yeah, Cassie versus Miller.
Yeah, Cassie versus Miller, yeah.
Yeah, look, listen, Miller's a fat, overweight blob. A good-for-nothing hype job. If they probably want to be fooled by that fat blob, then more fool them. Cassie, saying, oh, my wrist hurts. Because he could see that, Miller was huffing and puffing and just trying to squash the life out of Cassie. But come on, he's a joke.
There you go. See, I haven't seen the fight, and there you go. Asgar's telling you as it is. I told you.
Yeah, is that a strained injury to pull out of a fight with? Because a lot of fighters would go on with a bad hand.
Everybody knows Cassie. Everybody knows he will not unless there's a reason. He has too much pride in him. He's a tough man. And by them getting Cassie to pull out, it's just a little statement they was going to throw. It was like their token say, right, I want to challenge people with credibility. Come on, listen, somebody get this guy a personal trainer or Slim Fast or something. Come on.
Did you manage to see the Diaz-McGregor fight? Because I was before the last show. I think you were the one to back McGregor.
I was up. To be fair, listen, give Diaz a bit of credit, but Conor McGregor did the business. He knocked him down. He says, listen, get back up. He knew that if he was down on the ground, he was going to get a pounding. So he says, no, you get back up. I don't want to go near you. I can't beat you on the floor, but I'll beat you in the boxing. And he did. Look at Diaz's face. But you know what? I'm not an MMA guy. MMA should not even be mentioned as in the same breath as boxing. It's just insulting, and I find it offensive why boxing magazines mention MMA on their magazines. Listen, it's either pro boxing, amateur boxing, or no boxing. MMA is not for me. But give it MMA its credit, because I used to think it's a load of joke. I'm sparring this little guy. Next thing you know, flips me over. He's got me in an ankle lock. Listen. I'll never disrespect MMA ever again.
Okay, I don't know, Tony, if you're watching the show or not, but I'm thinking that if you can't get on via the Google, then we can do the interview via Skype, and people can listen into the interview via Skype, Tony. So if you're there and you're listening, let me know. I've just emailed you, and you've got me on Skype as well. So
Tony Bellew.
Pardon?
Tony is one of the most exciting fighters around.
He is, and I've said it, and people laughed at me when I said it. I said he's got all the tools to become a world champion. I said he does everything pretty decent, and people laughed at me at the time. He's going to become world champion.
I said on my last tweets when he was about to fight, I said, listen, from a man can take the punishment from Errol McKenzie and get back up. And everyone says, no, the other guy hits hard. I said, well, who's he knocked out? That's harder. I says, Tony Bellew, and you can even check the tweets, will beat him. He'll take the first couple of rounds and he will beat him. As long as he did that, and he did that, and you know what? That's what boxing's about, defying the odds. That's what real heart. Listen, you telling me one person that wasn't buzzed up from that fight, he's a true hero, a proper WBC champ. He's proven himself, and he's great for boxing. He's a great ambassador for British boxing.
The thing about it I like about Bellew is that he's done it the way it should be done. The British title, European, world, and on that journey, he's been beaten on that journey. He's been dropped in that journey. He's been got up in a fight, fought back and won fights, almost like the Tyson Fury journey. Apart from Tyson hasn't been beaten, Tyson's been dropped in fights. He's done it the hard way, British, Commonwealth, European, world. He's done it the right way. That's the way you build a champion. Not just he has 10 fights and you give him a world title and give him a world title fight. That's not building a champion. So Bellew, Jay McDonnell, Tyson Fury, James DeGale. People have done it the right way. British, European, world. I've been a big believer of that.
Can I also say, this is why we talk highly about Dave Caldwell. There must be something right that he's doing. Look at the atmosphere, the buzz. Look at the confidence that's oozing from David. You know, Bellew. You can't Tony Bellew. Sorry. You can't beat the buzz that he's created. There's something in that camp that's just brilliant. Hats off to Dave Caldwell. You know, he's making the difference, I believe.
Like you say, success breeds success. Look at McDonald's in this camp as well.
Yep. Then David Price's confidence is, you know, buzzing. You know, listen, you've got to take your hats off to the man. And there's certain fighters obviously make a trainer, and there's certain trainers that make fighters. It's fact. And I think there's just a mixed combination because Tony Bellew's a great pedigree. You know this. And when you've got someone like Dave Caldwell with the experience, and you come from the Ingles, you know there's some serious mixture going on, and it's only going to success, isn't it?
Do you think, Asgard, that there's going to be a point where a lot of these Eastern European fighters go over to America to get trainers? There's going to be a point where they look to the English trainers and think, you know what, I'm going to go over there because they're doing something right as well.
It's hard to say because it's all about the money. That's what it's all about. It's whoever's prepared to invest. Now, I do believe we've got the best trainers in the world. I do believe England, Great Britain, Ireland, Wales, Scotland, we've all got it here. We don't need to worry about overseas. I think we are the best. We really are.
But you don't think as well that we could start attracting the big fights with non-British people in it? Because as for instance, you've got Ward versus Kovalev, that will not sell out in America. Where if you put that on in the O2, that would sell out.
But would it? Would it really?
I think it would, yeah. I think there's enough hardcores here that would.
I don't know, because it's all about TV, isn't it? It's all about, because you can give away the tickets like certain promoters do and sell it big on TV. That's what it's all about. I don't know. It's a tough question. It's a tough. I wouldn't know what to say. Really, I'm just saying is we don't think overseas right now. We've got the ball in our court. We are the best.
I'm just talking to keep talking. I'm just talking to Tony at the moment.
Yeah, Asgard, who would you like to see Hay finally fight someone next?
I would like Hay. Who would I like to see him fight? Frank Maloney.
Only Asgard can come out of that.
Frank Maloney. Joker.
You know what it is? David Hay, listen, he's like, how can you say? How can I say? He's like Roy Jones, he was good, and he's just become comical now. He's just, people who are just diehard fans are just paying to watch him. It's entertainment now. Am I entertained with him? No, I'm not. The only entertaining thing that he was on Dave channel, and listen, the man's trying to make money to feed his family. Give the man credit. When a man's trying to earn some bread, I can't fault him for it. Would I pay to watch him? No, I wouldn't. Am I interested in him? No, I am. He doesn't mean anything to us. I wish Tyson did fight him, and Tyson just ended his career, but it didn't happen. But I'm not interested in David Hay.
See, Tony Bellew's been after that fight. Do you think that'll be a decent fight, though?
Because Tony Bellew knows. Tony Bellew's at a level where he's there, he's ready. It's a good money fight. Tony Bellew deserves the money now. He deserves the money fights. And at that level, why not cash? Got the belt, let him cash in. And it would be interesting for British fans. Would it be interesting for global fans? No, it wouldn't.
Could David make cruiserweight?
Nah, I don't think so.
It's how big his legs are. Too big. He's too. Yeah, this is not going to happen now.
Did you see the Spence versus Leonard Bundu fight?
I seen the knockout.
You see the knockout? I see the highlights as well. Impressed?
I know. I'm not impressed because I don't believe the hype of what the overseas fighters come out with. I really don't. I really do favour the GB fighters. I really do favour us all. I think we are the best. I genuinely do. I think we're more hungry. We're more. We've got to prove our own critics. Once we overcome our own critics, we must be doing something right because we're the most critical people in the world. You know what we like? It's the typical Great Britain mentality.
Build them up. Yeah, build them up to break them down.
That's the one. For people who are just joining, we are trying to get Tony Bellew. At the moment, he can't seem to log in, so we're going to try and do the interview via Skype. So we're just waiting to see whether I'm kind of talking with Tony now. I'm just waiting to see what's going on to see whether he'll do the interview via Skype, and then again you guys can join in and ask your questions. So you guys continue talking.
I'm gonna leave you to it, guys. You know, I've got Randy to meet up in the morning. We've got a press interview, local press interview with some dodgy dealings that have been going on with our local councillor. Naughty. But listen, pass the message on for me, Tony Bellew. Listen, he's a true great. He's doing the business. He's our champion. I wish him all the best. Please ask him about Oval Mackenzie, because Oval, he's still shocked to this day. Oval's fighting for a world title. He's fighting against Hook. So would he consider a third match? That's the question you need to be asking. To fight out.
If he beats Michael Hook, that would be a great fight, wouldn't it?
It would be fantastic. It would be a great seller. Oof, it's just a great fight. It would be a great fight.
Yeah, sorry, Ingram.
So yeah.
No, you go, mate.
Okay. Do you think he beats Hook though?
Yes. No. Yeah, no. In fact, yeah, of course I do. I think, of course, yes. He'll go all out. He'll just go all out. And I think Hook's fading at the moment.
Oh, I just want to say thanks to Asgar for jumping in, man, and sorry for getting you in trouble with your wife.
I know. Listen, last time England said to me, "Nah, only half an hour."
You know what it was. It'll only be half an hour. A couple of hours later on. You know it is.
Hey, can we give some shout outs? Just a quick shout out.
Yeah.
Big shout out to young King Fury, got married today. Congratulations, lad.
Congratulations.
Big shout out to Osman, Peter Fury, the champ Tyson Fury, the WBO Intercontinental Champion Hughie Fury, the main man from Ireland, Punchian, all the Fury family, Ramsey, the Valleys, Sells, Adam Harris, Mervyn Turner, Clifton Mitchell, you name it. Big shout out to you all. One family. And again, Tony Bellew, you're a legend. We love you, rate you. All the best, champ. Ingram, I've got to love you and leave you. Liam, thank you very much for having me.
Take care, champ.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Great having Asgar on as always, Ingram.
Yeah.
I know you agree.
Absolutely, definitely. He's out the room now. Yeah. Yeah, it was great to have Asgar in the room there. We're just trying to connect with Tony Bellew, so again, just bear with me while we're trying to work this out here.
Is he still speaking, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just waiting to connect with him, so we just kind of...
Liam Smith versus Canelo. I personally think that Canelo will stop him between 6 and 10. At the same time, Liam Smith hasn't been in that with that caliber yet, so he could surprise us. But what I've seen so far, it will end between 6 and 10, in my opinion.
I think Liam Smith. It's just a shame. I think Liam Smith is a good fighter. I think he has potential to be a very good fighter. He's a good fighter, but I think he's got potential to be a very good fighter if he was taken. Do you remember how Ricky Hatton's career was built? He got the WBU championship, which was a fringe world title, and then he fought a lot of fringe world class fighters. You know, fringe world class fighters, guys who were outside the top 10, in the top 20, and he learned good learning fights. Is Tony Bellew using Windows 95? What? No, he's not using Windows 95. He's using his iPad. Windows 95. Where'd you guys get these comments from?
I think I will back the guys up in the chat. I think it's the guys that are over 30. They have a problem with technology.
Windows 95, you know. Windows 95. I mean,
was Google Hangout even on Windows 95?
Windows 95. Yeah, by the way, there's nothing wrong with Windows 95 because I've got an emulator that emulates my Commodore 64 and my Amiga. So less than the knocking of Windows 95. Windows 95 had the original Championship Manager on it as well, so less knocking than the Windows 95. Yeah, but no, I don't think he's on Windows 95. No, funny though. He's Tony Belly. He's a Windows 95. I saw these people say these things in these chat rooms. I once said, you know what? Would you ever say it to his face?
No, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't.
They'd get on here and then they'd be like,
Exactly. So again, guys, we're just the technical issues we've got at the moment with Tony Bellew coming on the show. Thing is, I've been talking to him via his email and via Twitter. So I'm just hoping now that if Tony's watching the show now, that he's able to jump on and go via Skype, and we'll do the interview with Skype.
Amir Khan versus McGregor. If it's in a UFC ring, McGregor wins. If it's in a boxing
I
ring,
don't want to hear about Amir Khan versus. Listen, I don't hear nothing about Amir Khan. Needs to do well in his. He needs to stay in his lane and do well in his boxing career. Forget him in I don't want him in the MMA because listen, there is no way, as far as I'm concerned, there is no way he is never going to. For me, he's going to have to learn 5 or 6 years. He's going to need for him to become a decent MMA fighter. But you know, his chin won't change. His chin won't change. So I don't know anything about Amir Khan and him fighting MMA. I don't want to hear it. It's ludicrous.
boxing enthusiasts comment on Frank Maloney versus David A. Frank Maloney wins by KO.
It's not even Frank Maloney anymore. It's
Kelly Maloney.
Kelly Maloney, yes. So it's Kelly Maloney now, yeah. Yes, and SKC says Windows 95 was also the first GTA. Thank you very much for that. Grand Theft Auto, for those who didn't know. Yeah, I want to go back to the Spence thing at the moment. Spence is a good fighter, but he needs to fight somebody who's young, who's a welterweight, who can punch. You know, does he fight Porter? Does he fight Porter? Does he fight Thurman? You know, those are 2 guys who can fight in the welterweight division that are big, strong welterweights that can punch. Those are 2 good fights. But the way Spence is going at the moment, I won't be surprised if Colin Malignaggi will be next on his list. So,
well, if that happens, Paulie's definitely getting knocked out, isn't he?
Yeah, he'll get knocked out. He'll definitely get knocked out. I'd like to see Spence. For me, I always want to see a guy, no matter who the fighter is, I always want to see them in with a puncher. Algieri's a good fighter.
But he's not a puncher.
He's not a puncher. And the reason why Algieri looked great was able to sort of durable against Pacquiao and Khan, because those 2 guys came from lightweight divisions. Spence is a bona fide, solid 147 fighter. He's incoming from lightweight or super featherweight, bona fide welterweight. So when he hits you, it hurts. And forget, you know, a fight I wouldn't mind seeing.
Who's that? England?
Provodnikov and Spence.
Yeah, but he's just lost to Molina, hasn't he?
Yeah, I like Provodnikov. I don't. He is so anti-boxing for me in the sense that he just catches every shot with his chin. He uses his face like a goalkeeper stop shots. But just the pressure that Provodnikov would put on Spence, he'd have to get onto his back foot. I'd like to see how he fought against that.
What about Sean Porter? Was that too much of a risk without a world title on the line?
Yeah, definitely. But you see, but it's a good fight because Porter's going to bring pressure on someone like Spence, and we need to see what Spence. For me, like I'm saying, I need to see a guy start backing a guy and have faith in him. I need to see him take a good punch. I really do. You know, it's all right. Look, doing all this stuff, but I need to see you take a good punch. Once I see that, that is it. Right, you've taken a good shot there. Right, now we know you're okay. Or you've taken a good shot. You've gone down. You've got up. Yes, good. That sort of test. I need to see that.
Oh, Brandon Rios in the mix.
What's that?
Brandon Rios in the mix, or Brandon Rios.
Oh God.
Brandon Rios v Povetkin. That would be a fan-friendly fight.
The fight I like to see is Brandon Rios against
Ortiz.
Ortiz. That's the fight I want to see.
That's the build-up. That would be a hell of a build-up.
That would be. Should Spence fight Porter? Because Porter needs a big win. People are begging for wins for Porter. Yeah, I'd like to see that fight. That'd be a very good fight. Rios is shot to pieces. Well, if Rios is shot to pieces, what's Provodnikov?
Very true, Ingram.
I just want to spare thought for people like Michael Conlan, Joe Joyce. This the Olympics of boxing. Imagine you've spent 4-5 years preparing for the Olympics, to go to the Olympics, to let some random judge who's just been passed some money through his back pocket to make a decision on your career. I think it's just terrible. And it's only people who don't understand what it takes to be in the gym and work hard and train. Those are the things. It's those elements that people don't really take into consideration. And those guys get to go to the man. You get a plane, you go to Olympics, and you're Liam. Is it you I'm hearing lighting up in the background?
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Okay. People might think it's me. It's just going to the Olympics. You've got that dream. You'll think yourself, you get on a plane. Well, I know I'm going to fight this guy, and this guy could meet this guy, could meet that guy, and you're focused on your boxing ability. And when you get in there, you're not only fighting the opponent and the referee, you go fight the judge afterwards. And as long as you can't knock the guy out, you've lost the fight.
The thing I would say about the Olympics, though, it has been easier to follow this year with the point system. As they've took it back to rating it as the same as the pros.
Well, has it made a difference? Let's be honest. Has it made a difference?
It's not made it. It hasn't made a difference with the scoring, but it's made it easier for fans to follow and for fans to be able to pick an easier opinion.
Okay, I agree with you. The fans to follow, but okay, what's changed? Roy Jones got robbed in the Olympics, did he not?
No, you're right about getting robbed.
Floyd Mayweather got robbed in the Olympics, did he not?
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is, Ingram, that I can sit there and judge it easier, where before I didn't know how they're judging it.
Well, you can judge it, and you can have your opinion. Like most of us had an opinion, and many of us believe that Michael Conlan won his fight.
Well, it was obvious he won the fight because the judges that were in his fight got sent home.
But then there should be a situation where a guy like he should have been reinstated.
Yeah, and because especially with the fighter withdrew after the fight as well from injuries.
Think about this: all his sponsorships, all the sponsorships that Michael Conlan would have got. I mean, I'm here. I live in Ireland, right? But all the sponsorships he would have got. I mean, I remember just walking through the airport, the Dublin airport, just watching it. Now we had to drop someone off, and looking at all his face across Dublin airport, but like with the electricity company, and having Michael Conlan's face up there, and I felt so sorry for him. I felt so sorry for him. I'm thinking to myself, you know, you worked so hard to get to where you need to get to, for some judge to come along and do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that judge gets suspended, but is he going to be allowed to judge again?
Yeah, within no time, I would assume.
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. It's not on. I don't know where Tony Bellew is at the moment. I don't know if he's going to be part of the show tonight or not. So if he doesn't come on tonight, then we'll just have to do a show with him tomorrow and just do the Skype.
Yeah, do the Skype straight away.
Yeah. So you know. So let's keep talking. People.
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, your thoughts on HBO not picking up the Pacquiao fight.
Good.
Why is that?
Good. Why is that?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Really, honestly, do you want to watch Pacquiao versus Vargas?
I don't want to see it on pay-per-view, but I like to see Pacquiao fight.
I don't mind watching.
But will Showtime put up pay-per-view?
Look, I saw Pacquiao fight against Tim Bradley the last fight, yeah? The first two fights he had against Tim Bradley, I think he won the fight fairly easily. This last fight against Tim Bradley buzzed him more than once in the fight. To me, that's a sign that a man needs to be thinking about retirement. Now, the man already said he was going to retire. Now they've wheeled him out of retirement again to fight. Now, is this because he's got, I keep saying, is this because he's got money issues? Does he owe Aaron money? I don't know. I don't know. And I've always got this feeling that when Manny Pacquiao finishes his career, I wonder if he's going to be one of these fighters that is going to be forgotten and one of these guys who are going to be broke. I do wonder.
Do you think though he would have sold more pay-per-views than Kovalev versus Ward?
Who?
Manny Pacquiao versus anyone.
Not against anyone.
Or Vargas, say then.
No, not Vargas. No.
Nah, Kovalev Ward does more numbers.
Kovalev Ward makes more numbers because of what you're looking at. You're looking at the number one pound for pound in the light heavyweight division. So, you know.
But do them two fighters have more fans than Pacquiao combined?
You would think Pacquiao's got more fans than Kovalev and Ward put together.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it does do more in that fact.
It hasn't done that much in terms of it not being a pay-per-view fight. Isn't Ward Kovalev going to be a pay-per-view fight?
Yeah, that's what I think. That's the reason why. That's on November the 19th, and the Pacquiao fight's on November the 5th. That's the reason why HBO are not picking up both, because I presume they only want to put one pay-per-view fight on a month.
Yeah, you see, I think if you look carefully at the De La Hoya situation with Manny Pacquiao, I always ask myself this question. De La Hoya hadn't fought at light welterweight for God knows how many years, but he put himself right down to fight at 142 pounds to fight Pacquiao. And for that fight, if you go back and look at that fight, I remember watching that fight. I was in Australia at the time, watching that fight at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I asked myself, what is De La Hoya doing? Why are you fighting 142, 143 pounds? I never understood that fight. And then I understood afterwards, the passing of the torch. Pacquiao to become the new golden boy. You know? And so after that De La Hoya fight, De La Hoya being almost like a sacrificial lamb, Pacquiao moving forward. Now, in Pacquiao's career, you can see him being a sacrificial fat lamb for Terence Crawford.
Yeah.
But I know, and anybody in boxing knows that Pacquiao doesn't do well against counter punches and movers. Look at the fights he's had with Marquez, and of course, look at the fight he had with Mayweather. And then now let's talk about him fighting Crawford. Crawford, if Timothy Bradley is hurting Pacquiao now, right? Imagine what Crawford would do to him. Somebody's brought up the subject Thurman versus Pacquiao.
He gets knocked out, don't he?
With Pacquiao.
Yeah.
The Pacquiao gets knocked out.
Yeah.
Pacquiao definitely gets knocked out in that one.
I'd say within 8 as well, 6 or 8.
Maybe even earlier than that. But you see, the thing is, Thurman brings speed, power, movement, and he'll just throw bombs. He'll throw bombs from everywhere. You know, I don't think it happens personally.
Going back to the domestic scene, Ingram versus being out this week, Luke Campbell versus Derry Matthews.
Good fight. Good fight for Luke Campbell. He needs to fight. He needs to look impressive now, Luke Campbell. I love Luke Campbell, but it's like you've got your heart in your mouth watching Luke Campbell fight now. Him getting off the cat. You know, the good thing I like about Luke Campbell, though, he's not having easy fights. He's having the sort of fights that if eventually could make him become a world champion.
So he's learning a lot from the fights that he's taken.
Well, you're getting your ass dropped. You're having to get up. You're fighting a guy who's hitting you back and hurting you. Yeah, you're learning a lot from that.
Yeah.
You learn a lot more from that than going in there, throwing 2 punches and the guy falling over.
So is it a good thing that some fighters losing that O before they get to a level where they're the A side?
I don't know. I mean, I think when you lose a fight, you realize where your weaknesses are and where to strengthen them. And sometimes people think, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I spoke to Abel Sanchez, and that's his belief of Gennady Golovkin. He believes that it doesn't matter if Gennady lets opponents hit him, because he believes that it's not broke. It's not broke. Don't fix it.
Do you think as well that Golovkin lets a lot of fighters hit him just to draw other fighters in?
I know he does do that, but I've gone and looked at a lot of tape of Golovkin. A lot of the fights that guys are actually hitting him, you'll see he's actually slipping the shots, riding the shots, and moving his head. So the illusion that Golovkin's getting hit with clean shots all the time, even when he was the last fight against Dominic Wade, when Dominic Wade tried to land those combinations together, he moved his head left and right. So that's a guy that knows what he's about. Night, guys, and remember, the Earth is flat and space doesn't exist. YouTube flat Earth 21 questions. Did you get that from Jerry 3699?
I don't know where that come from, that statement. But...
random one, yeah. So Golovkin has an underrated defense. I've got to agree with that. Definitely got to agree with that. Let's talk about this thing about the Derry Matthews fight is interesting, but Luke Campbell needs to get rid of Derry Matthews and put on a performance to say, you know what, I'm of a different level. And needs to if he's really going to go forward. It should be a shutout against Derry Matthews. It shouldn't be a fight.
What's this? Luke Campbell would have iced Roberto Duran.
I think somebody is trolling tonight. Definitely a troll tonight.
Corles Norris.
Yeah. Yes. Good point about Derry Matthews. He can punch. I know you said Derry Matthews can punch. Now I want to. When you say a person can punch, it depends on what level you think. Is Derry Matthews a world-class puncher? No, I don't think so. Is Derry Matthews a European puncher, like just above domestic level? European? Yeah, maybe. So then, and then when you're a puncher, like someone like Derry Matthews, you still need to line the guy up to throw the punches. And I think that if Luke Campbell is getting nailed by someone like Derry Matthews, again, no disrespect to Derry Matthews, but I think we've seen the best of Derry Matthews now, and I'm not being disrespectful. I think he's a good fighter, Derry Matthews. If Luke Campbell is seriously thinking about going on to World Honors, he needs to be getting rid of Derry Matthews, and he shouldn't be getting kicked and dropped by Derry Matthews. Personal opinion. Correll Norris, let me come back to that. Correll Norris, I think it's in the UK. It's on an Eddie Hearn bill. I mean, I'm only going to logically look things up and say, well, Linares is not in his prime anymore. Linares is a top fighter, not in his prime. Is Collar getting him at the right time?
I'd say as well that that Kevin Mitchell versus Linares fight took a lot out of both fighters.
This is another point.
And I think I can't remember the fight Mitchell fought last time, but I think he would have beat that fighter if he wouldn't have had that fight before the Linares fight. I think that was a really good fight.
Well, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting if the Crawler tactics of soaking up punishment and then coming back later on in the fight, if he can do that against Linares.
And has Linares been elevated back to the proper WBC champion after the guy was knocked off his motorbike?
I believe so.
Because I believe that was a fight on the cards for Terry Flanagan.
Yes, I believe so. So it's for the Ring Magazine. It's for the Ring Magazine belt. That's the only belt I really recognise in boxing for me personally.
Yeah, because I believe he's number one and Crow's 3, I believe.
No, he hasn't. Butterbean could punch, but it doesn't mean he was any good.
Butterbean could punch if he's someone standing right in front of him and not moving.
No, Linares isn't WBC. It's Zalican, but it's for the ring and WBA. Okay, yeah. Well,
they said they've elevated him to Linares, a WBC Diamond Champion.
Okay.
Which is the belt they give because he was champion in recess.
Okay.
So I think that's why it's a unification.
So he said Butterbean is the Burger King of the 3-rounders. I don't quite know what to say about that, but did he lose to 53-year-old Larry Holmes? Yes, he did. Anyway, I tried. Believe it or not, you're not going to believe this. I have spoken to Butterbean, just as a random thing. Eric Esch, his name is. But he said to me, didn't want to do any interviews because he wanted to keep a low profile. Little did I know that he actually is taking part fighting in another sort of how do I put it? Another code of fighting. Let's leave it as that.
Another sport of fighting.
Yeah, under a very dark, dodgy name. So I think that's the reason why he didn't want to do an interview. That'd been class to get Butterbean in. You know, so hey, and remember when Butterbean was unbeaten, a lot of people were saying Butterbean should fight Tyson. So people could say this and that, whatever. I didn't think Butterbean was any good personally, but there you go. Anyway, back to our point from earlier on. We were talking about Linares, was it not?
Linares Collar.
Yeah, so I think Collar's got Linares at the right time. And if he hasn't got him at the right time, then people in Manchester are not going to be very happy of the outcome. SKC is saying Pat Chess isn't the draw he used to be. He hasn't stopped anyone since 2009. Lost all his sponsors after his controversial comments. Maybe fighting for money and not the challenge. That's very interesting. Because I heard Nike had pulled away from Pacquiao years ago. So, I don't know. I think I don't think the Mayweather fight did Pacquiao any favors. I don't think after him turning around saying he injured his elbow, his shoulder, whatever, I don't think that did his credibility any favors. Mikey Garcia for the WBC lightweight title.
Versus, I thought Mikey was after the Terry Flanagan fight.
That's what I thought.
Because Mikey was saying that he's won the WBO at the lower 2 weights, so he wants to apparently if you win the same belt at 3 different weights, you get a special ring, and that's what he was trying to aim for. Okay. But would Terry Flanagan? Well, maybe Terry Flanagan would take the fight. Would his promoters want that fight?
Well, I mean, Liam Smith is going to fight Canelo. Don't know the reason why he's fighting Canelo, but there you go. So now we've got a situation where I believe that Flanagan probably will fight Mikey Garcia.
Where does that fight happen?
When or why?
Where? UK or America? Does Frank have the power to bring these fighters over to the UK?
He brought Rigondeaux over, didn't he?
On the undercard of a fight, yeah.
There must be a reason why Frank brought him over there.
I think Frank's brought Rigondeaux over because Rigondeaux's signed a contract with him where he's going to have the next. I think it was a 3-fight deal, so his next 2 fights will be in the UK.
Fikabim says Mikey would beat Crawler and Flanagan on the same night. What do you think?
I rate Mikey Garcia as a fighter, and I think he is the next real deal within the 135 and 140 division. Whether he beats Terrence Crawford is up to debate, but that is a very good fight for both fighters. Okay. But I would favour Mikey beating Crawler and Flanagan. Okay. I don't know about the same night, but he would beat him.
Okay.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Mikey Garcia is a top fighter. I didn't like the way he kept getting hit with a straight right hand all the time. He didn't seem to be able to move his head out the way at the right hand. That guy he fought to come back the knockdowns were good and everything, but I didn't like the fact that he kept getting hit with the right hand over and over and over again. So
I think that fighter as well was originally a 126 or 130 champion as well, so he was moving up a lot. But same as Mikey as well, but I think Mikey's a natural 140.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just want to hear what people think about the recent interviews that have been done with Bermain Stavern, with Tony Harrison, and with Abel Sanchez. If anybody wants to make any comments in the room about those recent interviews. Apologies for tonight and Tony Bellew. We've been unfortunately able to bring him in the room tonight. I think there's been some technical issues from his end, so we're going to try and get him back in possibly tomorrow and probably do an interview with him and then bring it to Tony Bellew's attention. We'll try to get you guys to ask questions of Tony. So if you can leave your questions in the box here, then when I get to talk to Tony, and what I might even do is, if it's on Skype, if we can get on Skype, then I'll invite you guys into the Skype room so we can do an interview with Tony Bellew live on Skype rather than in this format, and then you guys can join in. So yeah. Oh, some more news. James Kirkland's been arrested. I believe regarding child support today. So the fight between Kirkland and Miguel Cotto is off.
The rumours about Cotto versus Gamboa?
I don't know that.
I know me and you spoke about it the other night, and a comment I said I heard was that it's going to look like an Oompa Loompa in the ring. Yeah,
I think I don't know. I think it was a troll that wrote that post. It must have been a troll. It had to be a troll. It had to be. What is Gamboa? Gamboa was what, 135, wasn't he?
Or one. I think Terence Crawford beat him, didn't he?
Yeah.
That was either at 130 or 135, one of the two.
Yeah.
What else we got?
What happened to Guzman, by the way?
Sorry?
Guzman. Remember Guzman?
No, mate. Not familiar.
He disappeared.
Deontay Davis, Floyd Mayweather drama. I'm not up to date with that. If you could share with us in the comments what the drama is about.
I saw Gervonta Davis earlier on via Periscope. I was trying to talk to him, but then the show started.
It's interesting though. A lot of these, if Deontay Davis has left Floyd, that Spence got to a certain point in his career and not as associated with Floyd anymore. And if that's the same with Deontay Davis, what's going on with his? He's building a lot of fighters, but seem to be leaving him. Same as Adrian Broner.
Ask yourself the question why.
Yeah.
Rewatch the Solis and Klitschko fight. Yes, I did say for you to go back and watch the Solis and Klitschko fight, and I'm convinced that Canvas Gate was an issue there. Oh, Glowacki versus Usyk going to face off today. Yes, Usyk is a betting favourite. He is indeed, Jim Wilson. That reminds me, I will be trying my damnedest, hardest to talk to both Usyk and James Ali Bashir before the big fight. So I'll be trying to push hard on that. People probably want updates on Team Fury. Hopefully, fingers crossed, by the end of this week, I should have some news for you regarding Tyson Fury, Hugh Fury, and Peter Fury at the end of this week. And that news will be exclusive to BaylorIC TV. So stay tuned. We'll have that for you as well. Yeah, I think that's about it for now, I think.
Yeah.
Apologies tonight for... I keep hearing there's a press conference coming up. Yeah, I keep hearing there's a press conference coming up as well. So, yeah, I think at some point on Friday, I will have some news for you boxing fans from around the world. And if hopefully we'll try and reschedule Tony Bellew for tomorrow night, if we can get him. We'll try and get him tomorrow night, and maybe, if not tomorrow night, the next soonest possible opportunity to get Tony Bellew. And if we can get Tony Bellew and Dave Caldwell in the same room together, and invite you from YouTubers out, you can watch the show as well via Skype. Jacobs versus Mora 2, who wins? As long as Jacobs doesn't get clipped by Morrow, he wins the fight. Well, I hope he's learned his lesson from the first fight. Floyd told him to move to Vegas after he got him a title shot. He refuses, says Floyd has pulled him from the fight and put him on the shelf.
As well, if anyone's listening, they can't join the Skype call tomorrow. If you could put hashtag Ask Tony B in questions on Twitter, we could pick questions up that way as well for people.
That'd be great. If you, yeah, that'd be fantastic. So,
hashtag Ask Tony B.
Yep. And I'll tell you what. I'll leave my Skype. If you got Skype, just add me on Skype. That is there. Skype.
Anyone to listen on the replay is Skype Ingram Jones. That's INGRAMJONES, and that's on Skype.
It's a Skype. So what we'll do is we'll try and get Tony. And if you're watching tonight, Tony, apologies. We really want you on the show tonight. A lot of people tuning to watch you, but you know.
Hi, David. How are you, latecomer? David Thompson's always a good guy with the questions.
He is, and he turns up. He rolls in at 12 o'clock.
Because he's in Uruguay.
That's for me to be doing, not you.
I think he's in Uruguay, isn't he?
What's that?
He's in Uruguay.
I think so. Taking this game to a whole new level. Yeah, we were hoping to get Tony in tonight, but I wanted to do it on Google. I mean, Tony originally wanted to do the interview via Skype, and I kind of persuaded him to do Google Plus.
Maybe you could get David on if you put the link in quickly and ask him a few questions.
Yeah, Uruguay. Well,
or was it too late for you, Ingram? Sorry.
Well, see. Maybe he might have something to say. Let's pull him in and see if he's got to say something quickly.
David, do you want to come in or are you busy?
It goes out. Boone interview was brilliant. Need to do a live Q&A with Boone. Well, we know for sure Darnell Boone will be live on BaylorIC TV. We know that for sure. He'll definitely be live on BaylorIC TV. He'll be live. We've got Tony Harrison live. We'll have him as well. And who else will have live on the show? Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have a member of Team Fury live here as well. It's frustrating. Google Plus, it still has this issue. Sometimes it lets people in, and sometimes it doesn't, and that's frustrating. But we're still working on it. What happened to the Adonis interview? I'll tell you what happened. I'll be honest with what happened to the Adonis interview. I called his close friend and advisor. We were talking on the phone to get the interview happening, and I just didn't ring back. So my apologies on that. Same with Andre Berto. I haven't followed up on these guys. But Darnell Boone is an absolute legend. A lot of people seem to love him, what he's got to say. And the other thing I like is about Bermain Stavern. A lot of people are responding to the Bermain Stavern interview. A lot of people are showing a lot of love to Bermain. And I've said it before, he's a really great character. And I'm wishing him all the best against Povetkin. And I hope he gets a shot for the world title again. So,
yeah, I think Bermain is one of the favourites on the show as well.
He is. So, and I've been in touch with Bryant Jennings. Bryant Jennings has been in touch. We're trying to get him on the show as well. So, SKC says, you haven't interviewed Tyson in ages. He used to have some long chats with you. Yeah, he did. And I'm sure he still will. We just have to make it happen. And hopefully by this Friday, we'll have something for you. Able to get Golovkin on a call. Abel Sanchez, we've got something nicely lined up for you guys on Google Plus and YouTube. That's all I will say on that at the moment. Where's Jennings been? Somewhere in Philadelphia doing his thing, I guess.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's it then, Ingram, for tonight, mate. We've
I think so.
covered quite a few different topics. The show didn't go to plan, but Asgar jumping on helped as well, and so appreciate it from Asgar if you're listening back.
It says, Ingram, do a Kovalev plus GGG interview. Piece of shit. Did anyone hear a Kovalev interview by any chance? Did you hear that, Liam, by any chance?
I didn't. No, I didn't. I was going to listen to it, and when I heard it was a parody, I thought, I don't know if I want to sit through the
No,
parody.
it's good. It's funny. It's very funny. It's very funny. I asked him if he wanted to. He could be a Bond villain, and he said he might. He says, "I may be a good actor." He says, "I might be an actor. I'm not sure." Yes, very good. Anyway, this is Box GGG.
Big drama show. Joe, I love it when he says that. That's his line now. I don't think he realised when he first said it that it would be a catch line for him. And,
Yeah, well, it is, and the Mexican dancing as well. It's just, you know, if I wonder if Gennady Golovkin had a really, like, he could speak really fluent English, really clearly, really well, like a Klitschko, for example. I wonder how his personality would go. You know,
I'll tell you what. The last press conference with him on his own, it was last week.
Yeah,
he was really coming out of his shell. I don't know if you see it.
Okay.
If you see the press conference, he really comes out of his shell. They were asking him questions about his thought of doing a fight back in Kazakhstan, where he's from.
Yeah.
And he said, "Listen, I'll come to America to get the big time. Eventually, I will go back, but at the moment, I've come here to fight." So
yeah,
if anyone goes back and listens to that, then yeah, it sounds great.
yeah. You got Mike Tyson. I've got an exclusive for you. Oh, nice. What's exclusive? Well, if it's exclusive, then...
If that's the real Mike Tyson, chances are it's not.
No, he says he was calling them clowns, slagged off the Olympics, said the Olympics are practically bullshit. He says Eubank is a clown and Froch is a clown. Yeah, I'd like to ask him how. The question I'd like to ask him at Kennedy. There's only one question I'm going to ask him is. The one question I'd like to ask him is, you said he wanted Kell Brook was too small, yet in this now you're fighting him and he's big enough. I don't get it. He's either too small or he's not too small. I don't get it. So that's the only question I'd like to ask him. So, and maybe who would he fight if he had the chance back, you know, in middleweight history? Who would he fought? Who would you like to fight? What area would you like to fight in?
Who would you like to see him fight?
Nigel Benn, Gerald McLennan, Michael Nunn,
James Toney,
Sugar Ray Leonard, Roy Jones Jr.
Tony Hopkins,
Nah.
Oscar,
Nah. Ray Leonard, Ray Robinson, Hagler, Hearns, Nigel Benn, Julian Jackson, and the G-Man. Those 7 guys I'd love to see Gennady Golovkin fight. Because, you know, all those 7 men, what they all can do? Tell me what's the one thing that all those men can do.
punch.
Right. I didn't notice I didn't bring in Hopkins, Andre Ward, Joe Kawasaki. I'm not interested in them kind of guys. I want guys that I know who've got dynamite in their fists. England predictions for those 7 men: heart. Yeah, they've got heart. Not only got heart, but they can punch. You know what I mean? And they can take you out with one shot. Hopkins is going to fiddle himself around with GGG. So, okay, let's see. Sugar Ray Robinson against Gennady Golovkin. Well, I'm going Sugar Ray on that one. Hearns versus Gennady Golovkin. I'm sorry, I'm going Hearns. Ben versus Golovkin. That's a good fight. That's a good fight. What do you think?
I think GG would have knocked him out at middleweight.
This is the Ben that knocked over Iran Barkley.
I'm really high on Golovkin. I think he would have done well at any era, mate.
Okay.
One where me and you differ.
All right. Okay. The next one up, Julian Jackson.
My view,
Mhm.
I think Gennady beats him. I think Gennady would have found it harder with the boxers, the Hopkins, the James Tonys, the Roy Jones Juniors.
Well, I mentioned Roy Jones. I think Roy Jones' hand speed.
But I think a lot of the punches, I think he would have beat because I think he's really underrated as a boxer.
Yeah, this is the point. That's a very good point Jim Wilson's just mentioned here. Well, we cannot objectively rate Golovkin compared to these guys because he hasn't faced any stiff opposition, and I agree. That's my point with Golovkin. It's all fantasy with him because we don't know how good he really is.
But as also, if you took Gennady Golovkin out of this era, how highly would we rate these other fighters? Is he that good and these other fighters can't live up to it? Or these other fighters just not that good?
Well, all right, look at the middleweight division today. The top 5 or the top 6.
You
Take Golovkin out.
Peter Quillen? Is he up? He's got to be up. He's got to be up there though.
It's a very weak middleweight division. Let's be honest, very weak middleweight division. I think it's very weak.
If Golovkin weren't in the division, would we be saying it's that weak?
Yeah, but it's a weak division anyway. It's like, okay, it's a weak division. I think it's a weak division. You look at the middleweight division, the middle super middleweight division. Even with Nigel Benn's day, right? You had Ben, you had Watson, you had McCallum, you had James Toney, you had Michael Nunn, you had Roy Jones, James Toney,
Hopkins, Oscar.
I forget Oscar. He wasn't a real middleweight. Howard Eastman, Keith Holmes, William Joppy,
Hagler-Hearn.
Hagler-Hearn's that they're back then.
So how would have Robert Duran moving up to middleweight? How would have he felt fought against Golovkin?
Duran?
Yeah. At middleweight.
Did Duran beat Iran Barkley?
I know he got knocked out by a few people at middleweight, didn't he? I'm not sure about the Barkley, mate.
Not sure about Duran, at middleweight. Not sure. Yeah, but I still think middleweight division is pretty weak.
So who is your top 5 in the middleweight at the minute? Billy Joe, Eubank? Are they in it?
Top 5?
Yeah.
Billy Joe's definitely my top 5.
Eubank?
He's been beat by Billy Joe Saunders, and who's he beaten of note since?
No one. But he does look better lately. And the one thing I will say about Eubank is he does keep himself in very good shape outside of fights.
Yeah, but yeah, that's true. Billy Joe Saunders would be for me. Yeah, Billy Joe Saunders would number 2, definitely number 2 for me. Jacobs 3, I think so. Yeah, Eubanks needs to fight somebody of some caliber now. He needs to fight somebody decent, and nobody at British level. Forget these British title fights.
So what would a good fight for Eubank? Peter Quillen? Gabe Rosado?
Quillen. I don't want to see Gabe. I don't want to see Gabe Rosado again. I'm sick of Gabe Rosado and Matthew Macklin having world title fights. It's like I think Gabe Rosado is the American Matthew Macklin.
Gets a lot of chances from being a nice guy.
I don't know what it is. It's like it gets recycled. It's like watching a repeat of I don't know. It's like you just pull this guy out every time. We need to have somebody defend your world title against. Oh, bring out Gabe Rosado. He'll do it. He'll go a couple of rounds. He'll get Gabe Rosado out.
Andy Lee? versus Eubank?
Yeah, I'd watch that fight. I'd watch that fight because Eubank can be reckless.
The up-and-comer Tommy Langford, does he give him problems or not? Or is he just another...
He'll get blown out. He'll get blown out. I don't even want to see Tommy Langford. That's how ignorant I am at the moment. You said Tommy Langford, I'm like, he's going to get knocked out. And that's ignorant of me, and I should know better. I should know real better, but the fact that Eubanks want to take this fight so eagerly tells me they're going to win this fight easy.
So with a Tommy Langford versus Spike O'Sullivan fight, that would be more interesting.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Gabriel Zada, 492 title shots. Guys, these mismatches with Eubank are dangerous. He's fringe world level, fighting fringe British level boxers. Not nice to see, I agree.
Eubank will blow most people out on British level.
Yeah, he would do. He would do. I asked a question and nobody can answer it yet. Well, not a lot of people answered it confidently. How many people believe Kell Brook can beat Chris Eubank Jr.?
No, he can't. Eubank Jr. would beat Kell Brook, and I think he'd stop Kell Brook.
Right. I asked that question. So how the hell are you saying that Kell Brook's going to beat Gennady Golovkin?
How are people saying that?
I don't get it.
They listen to Eddie Hearn too much.
Let me see something. Before I close the show tonight, we'll close it off now. Listen to me carefully. You people down the camera, down the lens watching the show, right? People, commentators who work for Sky are paid to have those opinions. Understand me when I say this. Too many times I've heard this being said, I'm paid to say it by Sky, but you know what? I actually think he's going to get beat. He's going to get beat badly, but I've got to say it for Sky because Sky pay me. That is what it is. That's what it is. That's what it's about. So I don't listen to any of them. I don't listen to any of them. Oh, he's got a chance in this fight. He's got a chance. If the commentators were honest, brutally honest, and said, you know what, he ain't got a cat's tail's chance. That doesn't do well for ticket sales. By the way, has there been a face-off between Gennady Golovkin and Kell Brook?
No, I think there was at the London press conference.
No, a face-off, meaning like
a show what Sky Sports have put on.
Yeah.
I am not 100% sure, but I would have thought if they have, it'd be in the next 2 weeks.
You would have thought they had a show like that.
But to be fair, a lot of the Sky Sports face-offs in recent time have been leaked on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I have noticed that.
There hasn't been a face-off. That's disgusting. That is disgusting.
There should be a few shows, and hopefully they've gone out to you'd have thought they've gone out to America to do an hour show on Golovkin and then an hour show on Brook as well.
That tells you something, doesn't it? Doesn't that not tell you something?
Do you think as well that Golovkin could stay over here? Has Golovkin, because Kell Brook, let's be real now, Kell Brook finds it hard to sell out his own arena in Sheffield.
Yeah.
So does Golovkin deserve more credit for selling the O2 arena in Kell Brook? Because how many fights? Because this be real now. The Vargas fight was going to be in Sheffield.
Listen, this has been real, yeah. People are not going to the O2 arena to watch Kell Brook. Understand that. Please understand that. They're not going to see Kell Brook with all the lights. They're not. Truth be said, it's Gennady Golovkin. That's what people are going to see. That's who people want to see.
And on the back of him, I'll be honest, I want Kell Brook to win just because he's British. But when you're being honest, he's not going to win. But we want him to win. I'd hope you don't share the same opinion that just because he's British, you'd want him to win, Ingram.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dave Thomas makes a very, very good point here. He says the way Kell Brook handled Jojo Dan tells me he is 100% ready to go up 2 weight divisions and fight the most dominant middleweight in the world.
But it's a very good tactic for bringing Gigi over, because like someone else just mentioned it, Adam Scott. There's a lot of money for him to be made in this division.
Oh yeah, of course
over
there
in
is.
the UK.
Of course there is. When he cleans out, if he cleans out, you think this out carefully.
Could he technically be, Ingram, the first pay-per-view star that is non-British in the UK?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Listen to this a second. Just as a plan, yeah? You know, as Gennady Golovkin, it's not the first time he's been over to the UK, right? People talk about it's the first time he's been in the UK. I'm sure I saw Gennady Golovkin at West Ham Football Ground.
He come to the UK to promote the Murray Monaco. There was a press conference in the UK for that fight.
Right, hold on. Now, I remember distinctly that Abel Sanchez said that the plan was for Gennady Golovkin to fight Andy Lee for the WBO world title. Should he beat Billy Joe Saunders? Billy Joe Saunders then goes on and beats Andy Lee. Nobody's heard from Andy Lee in ages. Not a word. But you can see what's going to happen here. Gennady Golovkin beats Kell Brook, or he should beat Kell Brook in quite devastating fashion. So he beats up Kell Brook, right? After he beats up Kell Brook, he could move on to fight Eubank Jr.
Yeah.
He could move on to fight potentially Carl Froch in a rematch, in a comeback fight. Froch.
Yeah, Billy Joe.
He could fight Billy Joe Saunders. But if Billy Joe Saunders decides to swerve him, he could then go up and fight James DeGale.
Yeah, and before that, if George Groves gets a title in between, he could fight George Groves as well.
No, George Groves ain't getting no title, man. Come on.
Callum Smith. There's a lot of fights though, Ingram.
Nah, I don't think Callum Smith will fight Gennady Golovkin straight away. I don't see that happening. No, I don't think so.
Do you think he's too tall for Golovkin as well?
But I don't think so. Didn't he fight Boutte in the amateurs?
Yeah.
Boutte is 6 foot, isn't he?
But pros are different to amateurs, as you always remind me.
Froch, I wouldn't want to see Froch versus Golovkin now.
I don't want to see Froch come back. He's done what he needed to do.
Yeah, I just said I heard a rumor that Froch and Kawasaki was being discussed.
I wouldn't mind seeing that fight just for the Folgic standpoint.
Yeah, definitely. So there's lots of fights in the UK to happen for Gennady Golovkin, and this is just a start for him. But what he doesn't want to happen and what he doesn't need. Now, Jim Wilson says Froch ain't coming back. However, I don't know if anyone remembers that when Froch said he was too big and too strong on Twitter, within 10 minutes of him saying that, I got on the phone to Abel Sanchez and we did an interview. And then the next day he retired. So he said he would swerve Gennady Golovkin like a plague. And George Groves has got no business being in the ring with Golovkin, to be honest. He hasn't. If people think that George Groves beating Murray makes him a world beater, then think again. Because, he was getting...
You don't think that Groves will beat Stern, though, at middleweight for the WBO?
I said middleweight.
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Yeah. So I think Stern is the WBO champion at the minute.
Can Stern punch?
And I believe they are both with the Solon brothers as well.
Oh yeah, he's got stripped. He's gonna get stripped because he failed the drugs test, didn't he?
Oh, okay.
When you asked me about Stern, the first thing I asked myself the question is, can Stern punch?
No.
He knocked over Darren Barker real quick.
I still don't think he can punch there. Knocked him over at middleweight. I don't think he carries that power up to super middleweight.
I think Sterling's finished, so forget Sterling.
Stern went 12 rounds with Oscar as well, didn't
He beat Oscar though, as far as I was concerned.
he? Yeah, he did beat him, but he didn't knock him out.
No,
So does he punch? If Pacquiao can stop Oscar, can he stop Oscar? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Oscar, that was weight drained Oscar. Oscar was fighting at light middleweight when he fought Floyd, and he came all the way down to light welterweight when he fought Pacquiao. So Sturman and Abraham should retire. I agree. I definitely agree. So yeah, there's lots of fights for him out there. Lots of fights.
Ramirez at 168.
I don't see that's going to happen. I don't think that Ramirez fight's going to happen. No.
Just pure fact they're both on HBO.
Not only that, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Abel Sanchez has got a clear idea of what he wants his fighter to be involved in, what he doesn't want his fighter to be involved in.
So if for instance sakes, GGG comes over to England and he beats all these fighters we've mentioned, does he go back? Can he go back to the table with Canelo and demand more money? Because he would bring the British pay-per-view more than Canelo would.
Well, think to yourself, why does Canelo need to fight Gennady Golovkin?
To prove to his fans. Mexican fans have got a lot of heart, and I think they push their fighters to fight the best.
Let me ask you a question. How many marquee names has Golovkin got on his record?
Marquee?
Yes.
0. Marquee. Depends what you take as a marquee, though, because I think the DeGale, that's a good name on his record. I think Martin Murray's a good name on the record.
It's not marquee. None.
No, they're not marquee. They're not marquee.
None. Not one. And how old is he?
Is he 34 and 35? Is that right?
Not one marquee name on his resume. Then look at Canelo. Shall we start?
Yeah, he's got loads of marquee names.
Shall we start? Mayweather. 1. Cotto. 2. Lara. 3.
Trout.
4. Trout. 4. Those are 4 fighters already. If you want to use Gil, you know where I put Gil? I'll tell you what I put Gil in. The same breath as Ryan Rhodes.
No, you can't. He's better than Brian Rhodes. Come on.
What's that?
He's better than Brian Rhodes and Matthew Hatton.
He's on. No, I'm sorry. They're on the same page. They're the same level. You could put Matthew Hatton, Ryan Rhodes, Daniel Gil, all in the same room together.
The same Gil who beat Felix Stern, though.
What?
The same Gil who beat Felix Stern.
But it wasn't the same Gil that beat Felix Stern, was it?
I believe he's better than the fighters you
mentioned. Shane Mosley? Oh, sorry, yeah. Shane Oldsley. I like to call him Oldsley, not Mosley. Oldsley. So just B-level fighters, that's it. He's only fought B-level. He's only, to be honest, Golovkin's only fought B-level opponents.
But like Jim Wilson has mentioned as well, Gil beat Sturm in Germany.
Yeah, I know. I backed Gil to beat Sturm in Germany. So, and Gil was a big supporter of BaylorIC TV, by the way, believe it or not. Yeah. I backed Gil to beat Stern, but you know, I never thought Stern was a great champion anyway. Let's be honest. Where if you think about middleweight history, are you going to think Felix Stern?
No.
Right. When you think about middleweight history, you're going to think about Arthur Abraham.
My history, maybe.
Well, I wouldn't think about Arthur Abraham. I don't think about Arthur Abraham. I don't think about Arthur Abraham, and then I think Arthur Abraham. Then I think like Nigel Benn. I just don't.
See where you come from.
Do you know what I mean? I don't have his personality. I don't know if it's. I don't know. He was a wrecking machine at middleweight, though. Arthur Abraham, a real wrecking machine. And if he stayed at middleweight, he would have been a very good champion, I think. I think he was a big middleweight, but a very small super middleweight. I think all their fights are so boring. I agree. Sturm and Abraham. So yeah, I agree with you guys. What, by the way, what's happened to Scott Quigg?
No, apparently he's back in November.
Is
Broken jaw, yeah. I see some interview. He was out for the Frampton Santa Cruz fight, and the interviews I see with him out there, he said he's back in November.
Okay.
And he's hoping for a big fight then.
Okay. Fair enough.
But like there was a few people said, why are you still chasing the Frampton fight? And he said, listen, what did all the great fighters do when they lost? They wanted a rematch. So why should people be saying, why are you still chasing that fight when he should be going for the rematch?
I don't know. Look, here's typical boxing, man. Yeah, Tony Bellew fights for the WBC title. He wins the. If he didn't fight for the WBC title, they'd have called him a bum. If he fights for the WBC title and wins the WBC title, and what do they say? Right, the first defense he makes must be against the best fighter in the world. I mean, that is not boxing. I mean, who does that? Who does that?
I think
Name me one guy.
Bellew deserves a money fight before he takes on the top fights.
Yeah, name me one guy of recent times who becomes world champion in his first fight, goes straight into a unification fight against the best fighter in the world in his next fight. Lemieux. Yeah, and look what happened to him.
A fighter that's what's going to go into just as tough fight as when he won it, Tyson Fury. But that's because of contractual reasons. But I still believe that Tyson Fury will. I don't think Tyson Fury will ever take a step back. I don't think it's in his blood. I don't think it's in his blood to take a step back.
Golden Boy sold Lemieux to Gennady Golovkin. Yeah, I think they did. They sold the IBF behind the scenes to K2. Okay.
What's that? The Golovkin's middleweight belt.
Yeah, well, there was no reason for him to go and fight Gennady. And the thing is, no reason whatsoever. Absolutely none. Hey, they didn't. They did it since they didn't want to lose to Canelo.
Would that not have been, when you look back at it though, would it not have been better to put Lemieux in with Canelo?
Yeah, I think so. Because
they're both Golden Boy fighters. So if you were putting him up to fail, would you not cash out against him with Canelo? So your fighter has 2 belts.
But who was Canelo fighting at the time?
Canelo's fighting Cotto.
That's why.
But at the same time, Grimram, you could have put Lemieux against a lesser opponent, so he'd have won. And then after he beat the lesser fighter, he could have gone in with Canelo, and then Canelo would have had 2 belts at middleweight.
That's true. I want to give a shout out to a guy called the Boxing Librarian. I need to give him a shout out. I was listening to him the other day, and I have to agree with him that a lot of people think Gennady Golovkin is the second coming of Christ, the second coming of Muhammad Ali, and he's been given a lot of credit for fighting B-class opponents. And just being honest, you can't give a guy a resume that doesn't exist. And I will say this: he's a good fighter. How good a fighter he is, let's see him fight at least one A-star caliber opponent first before we start saying he would beat Sugar Ray Robinson. I mean, that's just being fair.
Sugar Ray Robinson?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I know we laugh, but there are people, if you enough times, if you give them enough rope to hang themselves, they will say that Golovkin could beat Sugar Ray Robinson.
Let's just come back to Jim Wilson. He said, Liam, that fight couldn't happen because Canelo was contracted to fight Triple G next because it was mandatory. But in my understanding, that a unification always overrides a mandatory anyway. So that fight, I believe that fight could have happened because it was a unification.
There you go. Contracts.
Jim Wilson, who thinks that some of these rivalries are faked and they are secretly in cahoots with each other?
I think so. The last rivalry I saw, there's a couple of rivals that was bitter and there was bad feeling. Roch v Groves was real. There was no cahoots about that. That was real.
Bellew Cleverly? Real.
That was real. The first one I felt was real. The second one, I think it was still bad feeling, but I don't know.
Eubank Saunders? Real?
Yeah, that's real.
Roch Groves, you've said.
I'm not saying Bellew and Cleverly wasn't real. What I'm saying to you is that I think because it had more media attention to it, it got overplayed a lot, you know?
Is Bellew Flores, is that real?
Yeah, I think that's real. That's definitely real.
Bellew
Hayes is real as Stone Cold versus The Rock. Well, hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to Tony about that and ask him a question about that.
Mosley Barker 2 was fake. Jim Wilson.
Yeah. The one grudge match I see over and over again, Nick Owen with Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank. That rivalry that is what you call a real grudge match.
What about the Prince Nazim versus Prince Nazim Eubank rivalry at press conferences?
I think that was just more competitiveness and rivalry and the fact that, you know, they both were showmen. But Naz was far more better showman than Eubank was. Eubank was an international showman and Naz was a world showman. Naz is because he went to America and fought. Eubank because he was international, but he never knew where. He never took a stop to America. I think somehow his airplane never seemed to go anywhere near America. It seemed to go to Dubai and went to fought in Europe and went to Ireland, but somewhere the tour operators didn't say USA at any point in time.
Jim Wilson's asking you, Ingram.
Yes.
What do you think of Luis Ortiz officially parting ways with Golden Boy? Should he sign with Al Heyman?
Luis Ortiz. I go back to the interview I did with Tyson Fury, and I agree 100% with Tyson. Cubans don't support Cubans. In fact, nobody supports Cubans. You just have to look at the way Rigondeaux's been treated, Guzman's been treated, Gamboa's been treated, and Lara's been treated. Those 4 fighters there as an example. 2, Luis Ortiz is what, 35 years old? What did he do? I think he was
not older.
Yeah, it was third. He was third in the pecking order in terms of Cuban heavyweights. So Tyson said that as well. The third thing is about Luis Ortiz. He's yet to fight anyone who can really punch in the heavyweight division. He's been the puncher, punching people's lights out, but he's never been in with a genuine, real puncher yet. Fought Tony Thompson, fought Bright Jennings. Those 2 guys are not big punchers. And if you're using David Price as an example, as Tony Thompson being a big puncher, then sorry. Then he fought Coyote was a bloody cruiserweight. So I think again, Ortiz is one of these guys who's got to fight now he's going to fight bloody Ustinov, who's just a big lump, right? So, and I've met both. I've met Vac and I've met Luz. I've met Vac and I've met Ustinov, both guys. I think I've interviewed both guys as well. And what can I tell you?
How do you think Luis Ortiz goes up against someone like Lucas Brown? Outskills him completely?
That fight I want to see. Do you know why I want to see that fight? Only for one reason. Only for one reason. Lucas Brown can punch. Can't box, crap. He doesn't know how to box. But he can punch. And he's got world-class punching power. Lucas Brown. Nobody goes and knocks Shagai off like that. Nobody knocks Shagai out. And I said, as long as you've got a punch like that, and you've got some heart in the heavyweight division, you're going places. Jim Wilson says he's officially 37, but looks probably 45.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I've got a dodgy passport.
Now, from what Bermain Stavers told me, is that the contract was signed between him and Luis Ortiz, but Luis Ortiz didn't want it. He doesn't want the big hard fights against good.
That guy sounds he prices himself out of a lot of fights as well.
Well, there you go. There you go. I mean, I'll try to chase him up. Luis Ortiz's manager, he spoke to me once, did an interview with him. But I'll try to chase him up to ask him a few questions about a few things. But, he's not been too willing to pick up the phone after that. So, no disrespect to Bright Jennings, but he's not a puncher either in the heavyweight division. So, I haven't had a chance to talk to Bright yet to find out what the preparations were before that fight for Luis Ortiz. So,
what's your top heavyweights outside of the champions at the minute?
Outside of the champions, I think Povetkin, Stiverne, Pulev.
Hey?
I can't give you an answer about Hay. Problem with Hay is he at the peak of his career or is he in decline? And if he's in decline, how much in decline is he? Nobody knows because he's punched two guys over who are not in elite level. They're not European. I don't think those guys are European class.
Are they even British level?
I don't think those guys are in British level. Right? So you don't know how much David Hay's got left as a fighter.
Jim Wilson says, number 1 Fury, 2 Klitschko, 3 Povetkin, 4 Wilder, 5 Pulev, 6 Ortiz, 7 Severn, 8 Parker, 9 Joshua. I'd have Joshua a bit higher on that list, to be honest with you.
I don't know how you... yes, Joshua, I hope you're wrong.
Ruiz Jr. versus Huey. That Ruiz, to me, just looks like a pub brawler.
He's got fast hands always.
Yeah, I think he's got skill, but I don't know. At least looks like he needs to lose
some weight.
Yeah,
he looks like Areola Mark II. Who has Joshua fought though? That's a good point. Who hasn't fought?
Can't argue, but I don't know. I still rate him a bit higher than that. I think he's higher than 9. I think he beats Wilder. I think Joshua beats Wilder.
What's that?
I think Joshua beats Wilder. I'm really not that impressed with Wilder. I think Wilder gets a lot of gimmies, and people say Joshua hasn't fought anyone. But
but Wilder's done some things that Joshua has not done yet. Joshua's yet to fight a marquee fighter. Joshua is yet to fight a guy and go 12 rounds.
But the one marquee Wilder has beat, everyone's heard the story surrounding that.
Yes, true.
And a lot of the fighters he has beat, he's had a lot of problems with people people would have thought he should not have had problems with.
Yeah.
The Spitzka fight, I thought Spitzka was winning that fight.
Yeah, well, I said Spitzka would give him a lot of problems. I did say that. And Spitzka would knock him out in the first couple of rounds. Oh yeah, that's another thing. The Broxton librarian was saying, which I had a lot of. It made me laugh as well. Right? You listen to guys. People talk about Gennady Golovkin is going to blow people away and knock people out in the first and second round. How many guys at top level has he knocked out in the first and second round?
Golovkin, not many. Usually between 3 and 4. That's when he figures them out.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that. I love it when people say, "Oh, he's gonna knock him out in 3 or 4 rounds." Yeah, the guy doesn't knock guys out. On average, he knocks guys out in 5 or 6 rounds. He'll knock him out in the first 2 rounds.
And I'll tell you, if a lot of people are going on the Martin Murray fight, I think Golovkin could have got him out of there a lot earlier.
You think so?
Yeah, I think a lot of that was to, as much as I don't want to discredit Martin Murray, I think a lot of it was to try and make other fighters confident in fighting him.
Yep.
Maybe I'm wrong. You know what I mean? I'm just going on what I see in that fight, and I think he could have got him
Duhaupas
out
is
of
better
it.
than Dylan White. Duhaupas, Dylan White. That's an interesting fight. So in that case, where does Antonio Tarver fit into all of that?
I think
And David Haye.
Antonio Tarver is a conversation what we've had before, where we've said there maybe should be a new division in between heavyweight and cruiserweight.
Yep.
And I think a lot of fighters maybe fall into that because I think Tony Bellew could move up if there was a weight above heavyweight.
Hold on. He's put Fury 1, Klitschko 2, Povetkin 3, Wilder 4. Pulev 5, Ortiz 6. Ortiz, David Haye. Who wins? David Haye versus Pulev. Who wins? Wilder versus Haye. Who wins?
Well,
let's put it this way.
I think it goes back to what you're saying. We need to see David Haye at higher competition.
Right, Parker versus Wilder. Who wins?
I'm not seeing either. Wilder at the minute.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I haven't seen nothing from
Parker.
Yeah. I've seen more from Wilder than I have versus Parker. Who was Parker's last fight? Was it Mansour? No, it weren't. Who was Parker's last fight? For the mandatory to fight Joshua.
A tough guy. What's his name? Not Tuam. What's his name? Oh man.
In the chat, can you help us out?
Yeah, that tough guy. What's his name?
Parker's last fight.
Packham.
I was expecting him to stop him.
Why are we expecting that? Because Povetkin stopped him.
Povetkin stopped him, yeah. I was expecting Parker to stop him.
Yeah, but Povetkin stopped him. But we all know the story about.
Was he in Russia?
Povetkin, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Wilder's not a real boxer. He's a basketball player right now. Well, that's true. They ask you the question. I mean, now Wilder's had operation. Everyone knows about his metal in his metal in his right hand. I wonder if he's getting new plates put in his right hand again.
And is that going to affect him big time?
Well, I don't know if he's going to affect him, but I wonder if he's going to affect the guys he's fighting.
But a surgery on your hand that many times has got to take something off you.
Yeah, but he's putting more metal in his hand. He's going to be a bionic man by the time he's finished.
Hands of stone like Duran.
Oh. Hands of metal, man of steel. If they can reconstruct his chin, it would be a good thing as well. So, right. Anything else anyone wants to say before we close off now? We went on an hour longer than we should have done.
Yeah, we've done quite well, 2 hours.
Yeah. I saw Drop Octopus fight KFC Customer of the Year. It was Wilder versus Ariola.
Who does he need to fight next, Ingram? Wilder.
Who?
Wilder. Because to be fair, everyone's getting pissed off with him.
Someone in the top 4.
Because obviously it's not going to be Povetkin or Bermain next, because obviously they're going to be fighting each other.
I really want Bermain to beat Povetkin. I really do. I hope he does.
I really want, because of the pure fact of Bermain deserves that rematch with Wilder for his redemption.
I heard people saying that Povetkin actually is made for Bermain. What do you think? What do you guys think?
He might be made for him to work in Russia.
Oh, who is your top 10 heavyweight ranking, Ingram and Leon? Okay, top 10 ranking. Well,
on the spot.
Let me go.
I'll go Fury number 1.
Yes.
Klitschko 2.
Yes.
I want to say Joshua 3.
I'm going Pulev 3. Povetkin 4.
Well, I'd say Wilder 4. Then Povetkin 5.
Well,
Pulev 6.
I don't think Wilder beats Povetkin or Pulev, but I could be wrong there.
So we've got up to 6, yeah.
Well, mind you, okay.
7 Ortiz, 8 Parker, 9 Hay,
Okay.
10. I'll put Huey in there. I'll rate Huey.
Okay. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Can't argue that.
What do you say after 6?
I wouldn't put Huey just yet in the top 10. I'd put him in the top 15, not the top 10.
Okay.
Because I think I like to see him fight 1 or 2 more fights, like healthy and well. I want to see him pumping the jab out. I want to see him using his right hand, putting shots together, and looking comfortable. I didn't like what I saw in the last fight with him and Cassie. He looked in distress.
He looked in distress. He looked in distress though for the reasons of the medical.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
just think he's got so. I just go on what I've seen him in other fights, and just think he's got so much to offer. His jab, like you say, he's so much to offer, and a lot of fighters could study his jab and take that away and use it themselves.
Yeah, he's got a huge amount of ability, Huey Fury, but he's just been plagued with illness. I'd like to see him. I think technically he's a better boxer than Dillian White for sure.
No, he definitely beats Dillian White.
Yeah,
definitely outbox. Definitely, he'll outbox Dillian White. I don't know.
I
don't think Huey stops Dillian White, but I think he outboxes him.
How about Huey Fury versus Ortiz?
Not Ortiz, mate. At the minute, Ortiz. I think Ortiz outboxes him.
Now he's fighting a guy who's young, who's strong.
I think Ortiz got a lot of experience though.
Huey Fury versus David Price.
Both good boxers, and I don't know if Huey's got the power to get. How I see Huey's more of a. He's got such good boxing ability, but I haven't seen the power to get certain fights out of there yet.
Yeah,
and I don't know if he goes later rounds with these bigger guys, but I still think Huey would outbox them.
Huey versus Hay.
Again, if Hay connects, but if Hay don't connect, I think Huey wins. But I haven't seen Huey his chin been chested yet properly as well.
I've heard he's got a good chin. I've heard he's got a very good chin.
So if that's the case, if he can take the punches, then he'll outbox David Hay, because Peter Fury and what he's done with them boys is footwork. Their footwork is so underrated.
Yeah.
When you're watching Tyson's footwork, it's like going back to the 60s. You can really tell that Peter Fury studies these old fighters, and the way Tyson keeps his hand down as well and throws a jab from a low position.
Yeah.
And I think Huey picks up on a lot of that as well.
That's true. Jim Wilson asks, what heavyweights, what movers did Hay ever fight at heavyweight? Yeah, he fought the great moving Valuev. What a mover. Then he fought Audley, another mover from up to down. And then he fought a real mover in Klitschko. Couldn't land. He didn't land too many punches. And even when he landed on Klitschko, he didn't move Klitschko, did he? To be honest.
Is it too early to ask how Joe Joyce will fare in a few years with these? Because he's obviously an older guy in amateurs.
Yeah.
Similar position, turning pro probably to Ortiz.
Yeah.
So would he need to be moved on quicker?
Probably. Well, you see, heavyweights mature later in life. So, Joyce could be 38 and still be a dangerous heavyweight. Do you know what I mean, look at Ortiz.
So on that comment, heavyweights mature later in life. How
Yeah.
scary is the future of Hughie Fury?
Well, it's all potential at the moment. You know, he needs to do two things. He needs to do. He needs to be full of health and rid of any illness. And the second thing he needs to do is start putting back-to-back quality fights together and winning them well and looking impressive. That's what he needs to do.
At winning a boxer's career, do they need to start fighting 3 to 4 times a year? And when is it okay to start only do 2 times a year?
Well, I think
that depend on injury and stuff.
I think it's quality opponents. I think when you're fighting like the best in the world, I think maybe once or twice a year is good enough. I don't think you be fighting more than that. But having said that, if you look back in the olden days, they fought every month they were fighting. So I don't know. There's obviously I'm talking absolute rubbish because Ray Robinson fought the best of the best and he was fighting them all the time. So to be honest with you, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I can't speak for what another man's body can do. But if you look at Mike Tyson, he was fighting pretty regular as well. When he was fighting guys that were of limited opposition. But I mean, you know, I think it's dependent on the level of the opposition, I think. So, anything else, Liam?
No, I think we're all talked out tonight, mate.
I think so too. I'll try and get Tony Bellew in tomorrow because obviously he wasn't able to make the show tonight for technical reasons. So
Windows 95.
Windows 9. No, I think somebody said MS DOS as well, didn't they? I'll ask Tony tomorrow when I see him whether he was on MS DOS or Windows 95.
Or the Acorn.
Oh, the Acorn! Oh, dear me. All right. This has been England Jones from BaylorIC TV and Liam moderating and co-hosting that. Thank you so much, Liam.
No worries, mate. Thank you for having me on again.
Thank you, guys and girls, for watching the show tonight. Big shout out to our friends over in Canada, too. Mwah. See you soon. Take care. I'm out.